I really love working with CEOs that are ambitious and driven, but they get to a point where they're not quite sure how to lead to that next level. And maybe there's a new opportunity on the horizon and they've got to make sure the team is completely aligned together. Maybe there's a challenge that we need to rally together to overcome. Whatever it is, tough conversations are a part of that.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we want to talk about being a more effective communicator as a leader, specifically with tough conversations. My name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach for more than 10 years. I really love working with CEOs that are ambitious and driven, but they get to a point where they're not quite sure how to lead to that next level. And maybe there's a new opportunity on the horizon and they've got to make sure the team is completely aligned together. Maybe there's a challenge that we need to rally together to overcome. Whatever it is, tough conversations are a part of that. And I was just talking to a client today who had a tough conversations 2 weeks ago. And the impact of that was not a change in performance. It's just a bunch of excuses that came up, and he was able to address the excuses and give them whatever he needed to be able to move forward with the project. Doesn't matter what the project is. And this is a very common kind of experience with our employees, that they might not be getting the results we want. And they think that they are doing the right things, but then they come back and say, well, you didn't do this or do that. You didn't give me this, or give me a little bit more time, whatever it may be. But you have the tough conversation. And inside our book, throw up here on the screen, How to Have Tough Conversations, there's a little piece in there that we put in there as we were writing the book called the encouragement meeting. And I'm just showing you a little bit about why that's so important. The encouragement meeting assumes that every tough conversation needs a follow-up meeting. Maybe they don't all, but 99% do. And the follow-up meeting could be, I'm encouraging you to stay on the path you're on because I like the progress you're getting. I like the feedback we're getting. Good job. The encouragement meeting could also be version 2. You need to find the path. You haven't gotten on it yet, or it's not working. What's your next steps? And then you can have a dialogue around that. But you don't just sit back and wait. You don't just sit back and make up stories in your head. You engage proactively in these conversations. This encouragement meeting is a small little tool that you can use as a leader every time you want to reinforce the person staying on track. You encourage them to keep going, or you encourage them to get back on a workable path, whatever that may be. You can fill in the blanks. When you think about your job as a leader, it's not just to get work done yourself. It's not just to show up and go to the meetings. It's for you to inspire people to go beyond what they believe is possible. So you may have to call them on their bullshit every once in a while. That particular client I was talking about earlier, he had said that employee was operating from fear. And that's one reason why they're not successful. And then I asked a few probing questions of that CEO, and he came back and said, well, I haven't engaged in the next conversation because I'm a little fearful about this, and I'm not clear about the next step where I want to take the team. And so I'm just not doing anything yet. Now, that might be acceptable in your world, but in my world, you've got to address the things that need to be addressed proactively. You don't just sit back and wait. Sometimes you have to wait and let things play out for a certain amount of time. But if you're not getting the results you want with your team, be willing to have the tough conversations. Be willing to schedule that follow-up meeting a week or 2 weeks out to encourage them, and then keep on top of it. That way, when things change, you can give them the praise, give them the accolades, or if it's not getting the results, you can change the strategy and approach, and you can work with them and coach them to that next level. That's my 2 cents here, just giving you a little bit of insight on tough conversations, specifically the encouragement meeting, why it's so important, and how to do it to be a more effective leader and be incredibly effective at tough conversations. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, with courage. We'll see you next time.